So for this part of the newsroom, we're going to catch up with a very old friend of mine, Harsha, Acharya. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, John?
Good. Oh, yeah, very good. Thank you. I'm very well. Yeah, and like I said, we've known each other a long time, haven't we? Right back to the Contact Project days in good old
St Matthews.
St Matthews. Absolutely. What a part of the world that was to work in. It was great. Did some really good work there. Really enjoyed it, and it's good to see you obviously still involved in working with young people, doing your thing as you always did. And now you're the project manager for the Leicestival project there at the Focus charity. So what does that actually involve on a sort of day-to-day basis for you?
Wow. Day-to-day at the moment, things have changed. However, pre-pandemic, just being involved or getting young people involved is in as many opportunities with festivals and events or anything Leicester hosts, and giving them opportunities to kind of take part in a number of different roles. So running stalls, backstage, surveying, talking to the public, just supporting all the organisers in elevating a part of any festival that's happening in Leicester, really.
Okay. It gives them, I guess, a really good background and a bit of an understanding to what these roles are, because I mean the young people that you work with, they're always kind of really dynamic, you know, having done some stuff over the years with Focus and Minder and Gav down there as well, with your sort of, you know, soapbox projects, the open streets and stuff. These young people are not young people that are afraid to give you their opinion or tell you what they think of things.
Exactly.
So from this point of view, it's about, you know, what's happening in the city and how they can participate in it rather than maybe the usual suspects.
Defo. You've nailed it there, John, a little bit. I think their city, and when you talk to young people about their city, they don't like it. They think it's dull, it's boring, there's nothing to do. Sense of belonging, sense of pride, it's all kind of, yeah, it's slowly but surely being lost. So when you look at the festival events that bring it together, that bring that vibe, that community spirit, that celebration factor. Going back years ago, I can remember going to a number of different festivals and events, and it was a celebration. You became part of that celebration, you became part of that community. Nowadays, you've got those young people that just don't feel they belong. So if you've got a certain type of young person that wants to attend Diwali, for example, they won't go because of their sense of belonging or their fear or their just a number of different things. So breaking down the barriers by getting them involved in the festivals and events just drops those sorts of their perceptions, those stereotypes that you know, I don't know, that unknown for them. And I can remember a couple of years ago, a young person saying to me, she came up to me and she says, you know what, I'd have never have gone Diwali before, but now I've been part of it, I'll just go myself with my family and my friends as and when now. Do you know what I mean? And that is what it's about. It's not just about plying young people with all the wonderful skills that come with working in the festivals and events. I think the bigger picture is the young people that we're working with, they've got perceptions and barriers that are preventing them from just being out there and being part of society, part of communities, breaking them down and giving them that sense of belonging. Yeah, it's been brilliant.
Absolutely.
Really, really good.
And we tend to judge young people, don't we, quite harshly on the fact that either, you know, their engagement with social media, they get a hard time in the mainstream media. We then tend to judge them on what their qualifications are or what college they're at, or are they going to uni? And for a large group of young people, just that kind of even getting to this age has been some sort of survival mechanism. And all of the stuff that they're involved in, you know, if they've got a care scenario, if they've got issues at home, whether there's, you know, they're in trouble, all of these things, all of these barriers that aren't taken into account on a flyer when it says come and get involved, because it's not about maybe necessarily even having the money to turn up and participate, is it? You know, what's there that I can do in the situation that I'm in now, as opposed to where I want to be? Because sometimes your young people are works in progress, aren't they? Which is obviously the reason to work with them.
Defo. Yeah, absolutely. It's just giving them that time as well and the space to be able to then trust us enough to let us into their personal situations that we can then link into the work that we're doing and be able to provide the appropriate opportunities, not just throwing things at them and saying, oh, you can do this, you can do that, but just being mindful about some of their situations or their backgrounds as well.
Yeah. I mean, I remember coming to one of the soapbox events, Tina and I, and the young people standing there, and they were getting the praise from the workers and standing up and doing their talks and stuff. And of course, what they don't necessarily understand or even appreciate at the end, I've got goosebumps then, even thinking about it, is the fact that you've seen them go on a journey from when they arrived to the fact that they're standing up talking now. That there is worth what? So much money, so many qualifications, degrees, all that kind of stuff, simply because it now means they're able to engage in a way with the world that they can be themselves.
Defo. 2 years ago, so not February just gone, no, 2019, no, 12, what am I on about? 2020. So just before the pandemic, we took part in the comedy festival. Comedy festival is massive. You say to anybody that we know, our networks, anyone, comedy festival, oh yeah, of course, February, know about it. Our young people had no idea about what the comedy festival was. So we've been part of it before, but this year, or this time around, we thought, no, we're going to book a stage. We're going to get them doing performances. We're going to have an audience and pay for tickets. So get their worth, get their, young people's worth. Because we always do things for free. We always do it where we want people to enjoy it. So we don't attach a cost to it. Do you know what I mean? And it was a sellout. It was a sellout event. And seeing some of those young people that have never been on stage before, never stood in front of their families and done something where they can just get that praise and feel that pride at the end of it was phenomenal. We had about 20 young people involved in the show. And the vibe and I'll send you a video actually, John, we had Rob G working with us as well, and just the vibe at the dressing room, we took it down at one point. It was just the enjoyment, the pride that they felt, and it's spine tingling, just to see them. And I kind of got kids myself, and I think that's what I feel when I see my kids achieve. So when I feel that the young people, it's good. It's passion.
It's good.
Enough on that.
Well, no, that's why we do what we do, don't we? Because it's important. You know what I mean? If we don't do it, no one else is going to do it. So now the great thing about this project, the launch today of the High Street Heritage Action Zone, is the fact that you guys are part of it. I mean, the two roads are obviously Granby Street, which Tina and I are just off of here on Northampton Street, and Churchgate, and you guys are right there on Churchgate. You are the go-to youth organisation on that street. So what sort of things have Sophie Noon, the project manager, been talking to you about, and your young people the other week, what they could be getting involved in over the next couple of years?
So we are hoping to do a number of things, and we're sort of staggering it so that it's being part of some of the other things that are happening. So like open streets, and there's a design festival happening in October, I think. So we're going to attach ourselves onto those events, but running individual stuff. So the young people have come up with some great ideas. They want to create some tours, so they'll be acting and reenacting some of the historical stories that have happened, or things that have happened on Churchgate and on Granby Street. So there's that, but they also want to run stalls. And what else are they going to do? God, my head's gone blank, John.
Everything. They'll do everything, like they always
do. Everything. They're going to do a photographic exhibition. They're going to do glitter tattoos. They're going to lure crowds down to the streets, bring up the vibes, bring up the spirits. I mean, they've even talked about having a makeshift beach. So hook a duck, and it's just trying to get people back into these streets. The other day we did some research. We went out and asked some of the shops and businesses, what do you think of Churchgate? What do you think of Granby Street? Very, very low perceptions. It needs, aesthetically, they kind of said that it needs a huge facelift. But apart from that, people aren't coming down there. People aren't going down the streets. There's roadworks. There's all sorts of stuff putting them off. And Churchgate is a beautiful, beautiful street. If you look beyond the sort of grime at the moment, there's some buildings on here that are absolutely stunning. They need a wash, they need a clean. This is exactly what the young people are sort of researching, they want to put into action. And we may well be working with a very well-known, legendary, should I say, artist company based in Leicester. I don't want to say no names just yet. We all know who they are. We all know who they're, with the aim of creating some brand new shop front signs, so traditional signs that will be put out onto shop fronts, and yeah, so some workshops for young people to do that and consult with public and business owners about what they want and how they want the streets to look.
Brilliant. Now, literally, if I ran a business down that street, I'd happily give you a set of keys and go run this shop, because I think it also needs some kind of re-explanation or re-exploring of what retail is as well for young people, and how we can get them to be dynamic and maybe makers themselves as well, looking at what sort of, you know, young enterprises as well, you know, your Prince's Trust kind of model that I teach at the university is really getting that'd be one of the things to work on, I think, over the coming years as well, you know, being a freelancer or entrepreneur, but what does that mean for some of your young people? Well, you know, if it's making films and photographs and being in business in a media related way, well, actually it's probably within their grasp. And then the aspiration might be college if they want to, or university even. There's absolutely no reason why. So one of the final things, I spoke to Mr. Akshay, the beatboxer, the other day. We did an interview for today's newsroom, and I said to him, one of the things I was particularly impressed with his sort of poem that he's pulled together is the fact that he's actually researched the history and the heritage of streets, Granby Street and Churchgate, and actually written something that's very contemporary that even your young people would appreciate and get involved in. And really, you know, until we get young people like yours at Focus interested in this subject, they're never going to care about the environment and, you know, what these buildings mean, you know, whether it's look up or look down or whatever. They're not gonna take ownership of it. And of course, one of the rare things, you and I both know from all the work that we've done over the years, is the fact that, you know, the city is owned by various communities. You know, certain streets, certain roads, you know what I mean, are owned by certain communities, whereas something like Granby Street and Churchgate are quite neutral, really. There's an element, there's a safe space there as well, because you're not going into anyone else's territory. So there's a real opportunity to do something quite amazing, isn't it? I mean, what do you think is going to be one of the best things that's going to come out of it for your young people in particular that might benefit other young people?
Well, it's leaving a legacy, isn't it? Almost by concern. It's something that's designed by young people or put on by young people, and delivered by them. So they're taking full, like you say, full ownership of it. However, one of the things that they wanted to do, and whether it's all about permission and stuff, John, but was to create some sort of mural or something visual that would be left there for years to come, so that it would be almost like a legacy that young people had created this for the whole purpose of people coming down Churchgate or these streets and using them and taking pride at looking around and thinking, I belong here, or do you know, sense of purpose, really.
Yeah, I had something to do with that. I helped shape that. I developed that and stuff. Yeah, because we tend to think about, oh, you know, in 1800 so and so, you know, so Smedley did this, and in 1900 so and so did this. It's never ordinary people, is it, that get to make a real difference?
Exactly. And what we've used all that history, and young people love gore, don't they? They love horror, they love gore, they love all that kind of. So we've focused on that and used that as our hook. To sort of say, look at all the things that used to happen on this street, or look at all the things that, you know, it was really medieval, it was really like vile and nasty, and they love that. So using that as the hook, and then they start becoming engaged and interested, and once they do that, then the learning process comes in. From that, it turns into action. What can we do then? So this is the history of it all. This is what you've just seen. This is where we're at the minute. It's grimy, it's nasty. And actually, there's similarities of back then to now as some of the things that you're saying. So if you're going to look ahead, what's that going to look like? And that's when they start thinking, oh yeah, well, you know, that shop needs a clean, and it is just the simplicity. We're even looking at the pavement the other day, John, you know, just like little bits on the pavement, thinking if they lightened some of it, it would just bring a bit of light to that street. It's phenomenal. Just getting them to think the way that they do, because then they'll associate all that medieval time with darkness and, you know, like gloom and doom. And then I say to them, all right, let's look out the window, what can you see? And they're saying, well, not much different actually, it is a bit gloomy, it is a bit dark. Right, what's the facelift? How do you want it to look? How do you want it to be? How are you representing that? So getting them to go through that process. It's hard, don't get me wrong, it's bribery. We rely on bribery all day long. We're like pizzas, 3 for 10s, but it works. And I just feel kind of really happy that eventually when that penny drops and they learn that history, or they learn and they take it away. And one of the young people came back to me last week and he said, I was telling my mum about so and so, such and such. And it was brilliant, just he's telling his mum. His mum might not have been listening, or, had no interest whatsoever, or maybe she was, but just that, it's that ripple effect. And if we don't do it with our young people, John, never going to happen.
Absolutely. I mean, looking at the work that I do at the university, sometimes, the instant gratification is that they submit a piece of work and you get to grade it and all that sort of stuff. But full well, because I often say to them, in 10 years' time, you look back and go, I can't remember the name of the guy with the glasses and the grey hair, what his name was, but I remember him saying this. I said, and that's why you do what you do with young people, not for the instant gratification sometimes, or they've learned that. I mean, and if a young person's going home and engaging his parents in a conversation, or his carer in a conversation about something that he's done today or recently, I think that's a testament to the work that you do. Sometimes it's the fact that you're not around when they then bring their brothers and sisters or their family members or even their own kids down that street in 10, 15, 20 years time, go, your dad did that, your mum did that,
exactly,
your uncle did that. I think that's what's important. And I think this is where we need to be getting to with that sort of alternative education, isn't it? Which is, school has its place, you know what I mean, and all those kind of things. But it's the alternative ways that we've got to be getting people to learn about certain things that are important. And obviously where you live is going to be one of those things that's quite key. So I'm looking forward to working with you and supporting you, as Tina and I are obviously always working with a Focus Guys, what's coming up over the next couple of years, and seeing you at events and stuff. And most of the time people will recognize you because you'll be down on all fours, chalking on the ground and doing all sorts of crafts.
Sticking my head through a selfie board. Come and take a picture of me. Absolutely.
I mean, you're absolutely selfless when it comes to that. You're always engaged and stuff like that, up to your armpits, a bit like Minda and Gav have always been. So it's great to work. Thank you for taking the time to speak to me today.
You're most welcome, John, always.
And I look forward to coming down and speaking to you guys and getting them on camera, talking about what some of the things they've found out and what they're going to be doing, and then capturing that journey. So I'll speak to you soon.
Take care, John.
Bye.